Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, my name, as you know, is Resonance22, and I'm about to give my commentary on a 2 versus 2 Regicide Fortress Age of Empires 2 match between my viewers. This is going to be a very good game, I can tell already, as the players in here are of a very high skill caliber. And it's Regicide Fortress, which means players will start with a king, additional villagers, a different distribution of resources, and when that king dies, they're out of the game. Looks like it's going to be Telemachus playing as the Red Berbers. A little bit of res lag before we even get into the game. That's what I like to see. Immediate lag in Aoe2 HD. Lag, triple it. Age of Empires 2, High Delay Edition. Starring Telemachus, the Red Berbers, who will be teaming up with Ravasi, the Blue Huns. On the opposing team, we've got Motham playing as the Green Vietnamese, and we've got Intensivo, aka Revenge, playing as the Teal Malay. This is the patch 5.8 balance. I'll be uploading a combination of patch 5.7 and patch 5.8 balance. And here we get to see the Vietnamese in action from Motham, who did recently get their archer range HP bonus buffed from being 10% in the Feudal Age to 15% in the Castle Age, 20% in the Imperial Age, just a flat 20% across the board. So that means that they have 36 HP archers in the Feudal Age as opposed to their previous 33. I was one of the people that originally came up with the archer range HP bonus actually applying to all of the ranged units at the archer range rather than just archers, and I really like how that encourages a wider variety of Vietnamese playstyles and units. Perhaps even it makes their skirmishers more useful, and it was just a nice way to buff their early game. However, I think that we undershot it a bit. Originally, it was just like a flat 10%, and then we scaled it up. And I think that setting at the flat 20 was a great change. So kudos to Forgotten Empires as usual with some excellent balance changes in patch 5.8 to really freshen up the metagame. So that's the hope, at least. Right now, the metagame is, in my opinion, a little bit too aggressive, and even though there are a wide variety of civilizations being picked, games do feel pretty samey. So that's why I really enjoy casting these, like high skill level games, but not the expert level games. I do cast all skill levels though, because I try to include everybody and have content for everyone on my channel. But with this, I feel like we see a little bit more variety in builds actually being used. The players are of a relatable, obtainable skill level.
Yes.
And they have more courage to experiment, is something that I always like to see. But at the same time, they don't make a lot of common rookie mistakes, so there's plenty to still be learned. But of course, I do enjoy my expert games. So like I said, Regicide Fortress, lose the king, lose the game. A lot of players will actually scout with their king in the early game, but then you do risk having your king actually die by walking into a castle. And also, if the game happens to get to the Feudal Age, which it always does, Scout gets +2 attack, and then it can actually pick off any kings that are still scouting around. Like I said, you start with a different distribution of resources on Regicide, so this means that players are able to advance through the ages a lot quicker, so getting to the Feudal Age before 5 minutes is not out of the question, and as a result, scouting with your king for too long in the early game can be a little bit of a disaster if you are not prepared. I actually have an expert game and several in which things have gone horribly wrong on Regicide. So, anyway, welcome to the stream, everybody. Hey, BuzzSalty, good to see ya. I really hope that you're all enjoying the content. And I also want to say thank you so much to D-Dog for pledging $2 on Patreon, as that helps me out a lot. Thank you for continuing to support the community, as well as the funding of future streams, videos, updates to ResonanceBot, and more. And you should have access to the Discord by simply going to the thank you page on Patreon. I'd love to have you there. It's one of our major perks, and I recently updated the Twitch chat bot to also actually have integration with Discord, so that's super duper exciting. So, Regicide strategy. We talked a little bit about getting through the ages a little bit quicker. You don't start with any gold, so you have to make sure that you actually mine some gold a little bit early, like we saw Robsy doing, and this is important because otherwise you can't get loom, and that can leave your villagers a little bit vulnerable. Now, Regicide's typically played on Fortress because it's just awesome, and also makes the Fortress map a lot more playable. On Fortress, you start with 4 houses, unless you're the Huns, and you start with a barracks, which sometimes helps, and you start with walls as well as 4 towers. The towers are only placed well if you're good at the game, but if you're bad at the game, all your towers are going to spawn on the same wall, and it's going to be completely useless. So it just takes practice to get the right map generation. House placement here is not too awful. Sometimes the houses can actually block your mines, like this. Hey, it's Motham. Now Motham took a big risk before the game started in the lobby. Love Motham. Shoutouts to him. So big balls. Always randoms Incas, without fail. Almost every game I have of Motham on my YouTube channel, this fellow just randoms Incas all the time. He's got the Incas curse, much like I did with randoming the Vikings on every land map consistently on Voobly back when I was playing ranked. All the time. And yeah, I'd get them a lot. I ended up mastering the Vikings on land maps, but it's not like I asked for it. It was just destiny, I suppose. I kind of stumbled into that. So Motham is our resident master of the Incas, but this time he's going to show us the power of the patch 5.8 Vietnamese. But we'll see. We've also got the Malay in here. The Malay did get pretty sizable nerf. Their Karambit warriors cost an additional 5 food and 5 gold. I don't know if they needed both of those. I feel like the gold cost is the one that matters rather than the food cost. I would have more or less gone for the creation speed, I think, rather than increasing the cost that much, but I can see why they would go for the cost route, definitely. Certainly interesting. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask me. One of the great ways to ask me questions is, of course, via Twitter or Facebook or just in a YouTube comment. I do read them all. Mr. Goose says, "Hey man, how you doing, Resident 22? Good to catch your stream after work." Well, thank you, Mystic2, for tuning in. I'm doing fine, thank you. Like I mentioned in the previous match, I'm still getting used to my new living environment as I moved out on September 5th, and currently my roommates are out, but like normally it's pretty loud here, so I need money for soundproofing, and also my laptop decided to just blue screen and die 2 days ago, which is a bit unfortunate. I wrote a big lengthy Patreon blog post if you want to know all the personal jibber jabber. Basically, things are going fine. Could be going a little bit better, but I really enjoy the community that we have here, and it's something that I want to expand and grow, and with your support, we can do that. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to produce more Aoe2 content, as well as branch out into other games, really expand the community. I mean, our community here is so nice that, I mean, our mods barely have to do actual, like, mod stuff. Hey, Wriggle! Welcome. Good to see you. Welcome to the stream as well, Revermple, or, Ravarumple. So, there's a new system in Twitch where you get this karma point system, which I might change the name of it, but I thought karma... It was either karma, reputation, those were all, good ideas. I ended up going with karma. So, it's not really a currency that you accumulate, but by watching me on Twitch, and I may end up having a Discord... It's not a currency, really. It's like a point system. Because currency implies that it can be spent and lost, and I didn't want that. Basically, you accumulate karma from watching my stream, and you get more karma from actually chatting. So by just saying things to chat, you get more karma. And with that karma, it increases your chance of actually winning the drawing. This is one of many user-suggested things I've been implementing for the stream, and I always want to know people's feedback on ways I can make my content better, and ways I can make the stream more enjoyable for you. That's why I tried in the previous game doing something a little bit more casual to mix it up, so I don't have to repeat myself all the time by giving the same 5 lines of advice I've been giving for like 7+ years. Since I've been on YouTube for the longest time ever. Oh, holy shit. Well, none of the players in here are listening to the stream, thank goodness, but it looks like we're going to see one of my favorite little cheese strategies in here. I don't want to spoil it too much for you all, because I'd like everybody to put on their res thinking caps and give a brief moment of thought for what our pal Rovsy's up to, by the gods. So this karma thing, it's not a currency. That's why I didn't name it like res coins or something lame. Or res bucks or whatever. And I don't want to do that. So you accumulate it over time, and it increases your chance of winning every drawing or giveaway that I do. And if I actually had money, then, and hopefully I will at some point soon, the giveaway thing would be more relevant. But it helps you win all drawings. And also, it grants you access to the Discord once you accumulate enough of that, as well as other various miscellaneous perks. Get badges and stuff. I'm working on implementing various like Discord specific emotes, all sorts of interesting things. And it's also a great way for me to know, who the most engaged viewers are. So I'd like to also find additional uses for it, but I didn't want people spending it to like get into a game, because I don't want anyone to have buyer's remorse, if that makes sense. Like, what if you buy into a game, right? and then it turns out the game is awful. I think you feel pretty bad. I want viewers to feel like they are progressing, right? Rather than just gambling on my stream. I don't want that. Or, if I wanted to phrase it extremely poorly, as a community manager myself, allow me to phrase it in the worst way possible. I would like my viewers to feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. And that's why it costs $80 to join a lobby or unlock Darth Vader. We've got the karma system, which I think is pretty cool. I'm open to tweaks to it, of course, but yeah, it's just a good way to encourage people to chat, but you still get karma if you just say hi in case people want to lurk. That's fine. And again, one of the best ways to ask me questions is either via YouTube comments, or like a Streamlabs alert, or like Twitter. Is this gonna work? Because this could work. Like, you just bust the wall down and you just kill the king with Tarkans. I mean, that would be fire. I would love to see that. That'd be fun. Oh, but Aoe2 not born yesterday, even though I'm not sure if he's played much Regicide Fortress, but I see that. The king's surprisingly athletic. The joke never gets old. Speaking of jokes that never get old. Ooh! A house trap. I was going to say that if you type exclamation mark quote in the Twitch chat, it'll pull a random quote from the ResQuote subreddit to make sure that you post some good quality Twitch clips there, follow the formatting in the sidebar, and then I'll add that to the database. So we got a huge amount of quotes that can be used. The excellent boxing play by Aoe2. That is honestly stunning. And I really like this play by Rovsi. The Tarkan Rush Petard bust is pretty hot. And now I got the Karambit Warrior. I asked that we give it one extra attack in the Castle Age because the Karambit Warrior in the Castle Age is pretty weak, but in the Imperial Age, when it gets more armor and better combat stats, it really does make a huge difference. The Karambit Warrior was a bit too strong, for sure. But the Castle Age Karambit Warrior kind of sucks. We saw that in quite a few of the expert games that I casted where they can't even kill monks because it does so little damage. At least now it does a little bit more. Still not so great. I mean, Sijin's a really aggressive player, actually. It's fun. He always loves to do his, like, 1 TC all-in, and he just would constantly try to fast castle Karambit Warrior rush. It never really worked, but it was always something we were worried about over-tuning, and it so turns out the Elite Karambit Warrior is the really ridiculous one. And this one's significantly more fair. Due in part to the... I mean, it also actually got nerfed due to the increased cost, so no concerns here. Tarkan's underneath the TC, doing some nice bonus damage to buildings. Man, I love this unit. And I like the Spearman choice, by the way, by Aoe2, aka Revenge. And now he's going to delete his house. He's going to come out there, and he's going to zone these Tarkans away. Wow, that's enough Tarkans, actually, to... With a town center that contains 9 villagers, that's actually enough to force it to ungarrison. Pretty nice. Meanwhile, we see Telemachos, the Berbers player, is going for a fairly standard Camel Archer rush. The Camel Archer is a unit that I'm glad we didn't over-nerf, but it so turns out just has amazing, incredible combat stats from Castle Age, and also decent stats for the Imperial Age, so it scales really nicely. We don't really see the fact that they can regenerate HP with Maghrabi Camels being abused that much, because the regeneration rate's really low. I showed that in my Berber Civ overview, but this unit is strong. I mean, it's similar to the Mangudai, but at the same time, usually save the Mangudai for the Imperial Age. I mean, the Camel Archer is not generally used as a counter to Cavalry Archers, but rather just as a good all-around, all-purpose unit. But it's certainly good at that, and it really sucks for the Mongols versus this. Now, we see here that numbers are quite important in that there were some pikemen in this army, but the Karambit Warriors, boy, do they really just not do anything, as they get bodied by the Tarkans, which don't have fantastic combat stats either. Yes. So, that's pretty funny, as Aoe2 gets cleaned up. I like the pikemen mix-in, but Rovsi looking good with that solid KD. So, did I miss any questions? Probably missed a lot of them. Any sneaky petards? You waiting so long for this? Oh yeah, cheeky petards. Guys, so do you find the Chimera underrated? Do you think they need a buff? I don't think they need a buff. I think maybe they're slightly underrated, but I don't think they need a buff now. My biggest problems with Age of Empires 2 balance currently are less on the Civ side and more of just an overall power creep with the newer Civs and the repetitiveness of the metagame. I feel like the metagame is very, very aggressive right now, and I think it's a bit too aggressive in some cases, and I think that the Fire Galley is not a very skill-intensive unit. and potentially unhealthy for the game, but I do really love the nerf to it, where it no longer basically instantly destroys fishing ships. Reducing the bonus damage from +3 to +1 is huge. So the Camel Archers are here. Great unit. Great unit in general. I mean, 7 base attack in the Castle Age is utterly fantastic, as it means that they deal with mangonels pretty nicely. Now, the Mangudai is bulkier than the Camel Archer is in general, but the thing is that the 7 attacks, that matters a lot. It also just matters versus attacking any units with a semblance of pierce armor, because obviously the Mangudai have an attack bonus versus mangonel, so that also works. The Camel Archer, you know, you also get not exhibitions. It's what's that called? It's not exhibitions, right?
No.
Casbah.
Yes.
Casbah to make your castles work 25% faster for your team. That's a really sick bonus to have, especially if your teammate is making any unique units. This is one of my favorite unique techs in the game, actually. I wish Casbah was utilized more. It's a pretty sick team bonus. You can do some really fun stuff here, like actually the... Oh my god. The combo with the Tarkans. I mean, this is pretty sick, right? So, the Malay are like an infantry and archer civilization. They've got cheap battle elephants. I mean, their gimmick is basically their units aren't that strong, but they're able to advance to the ages really quickly, and 80% faster to be specific, and they tend to overwhelm their opponents with superior numbers. I like the mass pikes. I mean, it'll work if they can touch the Camel Archers, but it might be a little bit tricky. He's maybe going to need some skirms or something like that. And speaking of skirms, Motham is here with the Vietnamese Elite Skirmisher, 42 HP. Not in the Imperial Age. Very nice. Now, it might not seem like it's a huge buff, but living living 1 extra hit as an archer in the Feudal Age is huge. And now living 2 is even bigger. And this kind of makes up for the fact that the Vietnamese have no early game economy bonus, which is, you know, definitely hurts their viability. And I feel like that's just due to a lack of design space. There was not enough bonuses left to give. That's one of the reasons why I'm happy that I haven't heard any news yet, and I kind of hope I don't hear news about a new expansion. I feel like Forgotten Empires designs great expansions, I do, but there's just a finite amount of design space left. Like, there really is, and I feel like you can see it with the Vietnamese. We have the Imperial Skirmisher, which I think is a super cool unit, right? But it's redundant on a civilization that has, you know, they're just an anti-archer civ in general. Like, they got the Rattan Archer. I feel like the Imperial Skirmisher should have been given to someone else, and it would be nice to have this have an eco bonus, but there's really very few eco bonuses left. I think the Khmer have a really unique and interesting one that I love, which is the no building requirements. Super cool. I did answer your question, guys, about the Khmer. Yes. I think they're good. They'll be fine. So. Ooh, the Halberdiers are here. And yes, Intensivo in the Imperial Age, because he can get there 80% faster. That's a little bit of an eco bonus in itself, but not really. I mean, it's mostly... Yeah, it gives you a couple villager lead. To the Feudal Age, it can give you about a 2 villager lead if you advance at the same time, but really you're just using it to leverage a tech advantage, is what you're doing. So... It's not that strong if you look at it as just an ego bonus, and it's really important to always look at bonuses in Age of Empires 2, not just as like scenario editor things you can test, but you have to remember that every game at Age of Empires 2 is different, and you actually have to think of them from a realistic in-game standpoint rather than a 2 armies bashing each other standpoint, because those situations will rarely come up. Now, Camel Archers are here. It looks like he doesn't have ballistics, or he wouldn't be missing all of these shots, but you know, it's difficult to actually sustain that type of economy, and because the Camel Archer takes so many upgrades, just like the Mangudai does. That was one of the many ways that the original devs, Ensemble Studios, tried to balance out the Cavalry Archer, not to create another Chariot Archer type situation that they had in Age of Empires 1, by making the Cavalry Archer require so many different upgrades. Now, Cavalry Archer has seen a recent resurgence in competitive play, which I think is funny. I've been making it for years, but like, I think that the 10 gold cost reduction on it is quite sick. They're the type of unit where, for some civs, in the right matchup, they can really come in handy. For the Turks, it can be an interesting choice, like for example versus the Mongols, if the Mongols are making like Mangudai or something like that. It's something that you could certainly consider. And I think the Cavalry Archer unit, even though it is a bit slow to get out, is quite strong with enough upgrades. I mean, we really saw that with the Magyars. When the stats are here, they do the damage. And now Motham on the retreat, as he does not have Well, he's got minimum range. Not the Inca, so no Andean Sling or anything like that to remove the minimum range from his elite skirms. So he's actually going to get cleaned up by Tarkans. Now has to put down a bunch of barracks. I feel like this is where the Vietnamese really start to struggle, is against any civ with, like, pretty good cavalry. Thank goodness they get halberdiers. All Rise of the Raja civs do, because Sisram was really thinking about the mirror matches for Rise of the Raja civilizations, and actually making sure that they all have meaningful counterplay to elephants, which I think is really good. I think that they all need halberdiers. So I'm also glad that the Vietnamese get champions, because otherwise they'd have absolutely no counterplay at all to Eagle Warriors and like Eagle Warriors plus Halbs or Huskarls plus Halbs. They just have absolutely none. They still kind of don't, so that's a problem. But as we see here, the Vietnamese do fold to any semblance of good cavalry units. Missing Blast Furnace is quite bad, and not having Eco bonus is also quite bad, nor having any bonus to your infantry. And they don't give camels either, and their battle elephants are really slow, so they're not very good versus cavalry, because you just don't have to fight the really slow battle elephants. But I do really like the buff to Chatras, giving them plus 20 HP, pushing them even further into this I'm a really fat battle elephant, you don't want to fight me thing, and that allows the Vietnamese once again to go for that kind of slow push playstyle. But they do get punished quite hard by, you know, like mass paladins, mass Tarkans even. But they do have answers, you just have to get that halberdier tech out. The problem is Mothump is actually in the Castle Age, not the Imperial Age, so his attack bonus is significantly low. It's only 22, or it could be like 10 higher, so he's getting there. And the Vietnamese are actually very weak to Tarkans because they're the only civ in the game that does not get masonry or architecture, so their buildings disintegrate. This was to nerf their sort of slow push playstyle. Ooh, the trees! Not bad. Didn't even need this quick house. Nice. Yeah, so they don't get masonry or architecture. It's one of the ways to, you know, weaken their sort of like slow style push, make sure that their bombard towers and everything can get defeated, and that they are not a civ that can like turtle amazingly well. And I think it's an interesting design choice, definitely. Well, here's the thing. Blowing up people's houses, it's another resource that people often forget about. Now, Mothump's actually really, really safe on the number of houses that he actually has, but I have, won many games, ranked games, like 1700 on Voobly, by housing my opponent at a strategic time, where I just demolished all of his houses with trebuchets, come in, can't replace his army, boom. It's another resource, basically. Now, it's time for you, Intensivo, or Revenge, to have his revenge. Teal is in! But Telemachus is here to ruin the day. Now, these two players are a little on the weaker side economically, so Teal does not have a very large economy. He went to the Imperial Age pretty quick, and that was at the cost of villagers. And Robsy has made a very large amount of military units in the Castle Age, and as a result, Robsy also has a relatively small economy and is not in the Imperial Age. So here we're seeing what wins. Being in the Imperial Age but having a smaller eco, or being in the Castle Age and having a larger eco? And the answer is actually that it just helps to have a teammate with mobile units, and the Camel Archer certainly is that. Meanwhile, Mothump is trying desperately to make Kameyuks, elite Eagle Warriors, research couriers, but he is actually the Vietnamese, a civ that plays absolutely nothing like the Incas. I do think he is playing this well, though. The elite skirms earlier on were very clutch to save Teal. Very clutch indeed. I like the secondary castle. But I think that this civ matchup's going to be awkward, because the Berbers are cavalry civilization with discounted stable units, and even though I think that the Camel Archers will get wrecked by these skirms, victory will be short-lived. We shall see, though. The pikemen are here by Mothump. That's a lot of damage. Not bad, not bad. Now, Tarkan have worse combat stats than a Paladin do, because they eat buildings quite nicely. However, the additional 1 Pierce Armor given to them was a huge, fantastic, awesome buff, as well as the, what is that, Marauders or something like that? That allows you to spawn in the stable. Tarkans are pretty good. I've even seen them used in the Conquerors. So, pretty good unit. Skill player will know when to use them, and they certainly have their utility on Regicide, as well as just in general. And when you're playing against the Vietnamese, who don't have Masonry and Architecture, oh my god, you just get beaten up. And here's the problem. So Mothum isn't an imp, because he's the Vietnamese, and they don't have a real eco bonus. And boom, he gets housed! Doesn't that ruin all your plans? It does. He got housed because he lost the castle. And getting housed can actually win you games. So he needs to get to imp, Prano, or he has no answer to these trebs. He needs to get to imp, he needs to get chemistry, and he needs to get bombard cannons. And the problem is that that's going to take forever, as chemistry is one of the slowest researching technologies in Age of Empires 2. And it's absolutely critical. That's why the Turks can go for a fast imp, because free chemistry means that you get to surprise your opponent with hand cannoneers and gunpowder units just right off the bat. They're so strong. That's why chemistry researches so slowly. Now, there are other civs that can do the fast imp style strategy. Wow, nice snipe. With the treb, nice indeed. But, like, Motham has to get the imp if he wants to be able to defend against this. He's actually going to engage now, and as long as he can stay away from the castle, he might be able to win this. Decent mangonel shot. Will he get another one? Good God, Telemachus is on fire. On fire with these treb snipes on the mangonels. That mattered so much. If he had those 2 mangonels alive, I think that this would be a different battle for Motham. Honestly, he does have a hill disadvantage here as well as an upgrade disadvantage, but his army is perfect for the situation. If only his mangonels would stop getting sniped, but another one! Another one. Now, I like the Motham is focusing down the trebs because he has to stall till he gets to imp, but it's going to take so long to get at those bombard cannons. It's going to take so long. And meanwhile, his Telemachus is just exploiting the sheer insurmountable mobility of these Berbers camp largers. If you enjoy my casting, please do leave a like and a comment on YouTube. It helps me a lot, as well as consider not using ad block. I always read everyone's comments, and I really appreciate all the support as always. Thank you, everybody. And you can check out my Patreon and whatnot for updates. It's a great way to support. Supports the channel and the community. But man, Telemachus having the game of his life, and those snipes are huge. And Rovsy coming in here with the Tarkans is he's doing some serious cleanup. I don't think they got I will never remember the name of that technology. Casbah. I don't think they actually researched it, did they? If they did, that would be amazing. Doesn't look like it. But, well, actually, I can't really tell. Because we're playing an Aoe2 HD. Hard. Browniger. Yeah, hard's the answer. Now, I do think that Intensivo is doing a good job here, but let's go take a look at his pop, because I think that it's a little bit too low. He probably doesn't have villagers, because you can tell because his score is a bit low. Now, Motham doesn't really either, but he is being, like, heavily attacked. He got to imp, so he could defend with his own trebs if he wants to. So one of the reasons why I mean, besides growing the AoE community and our community, it's really important to support the content for games beyond just AoE 2. To bring in more people to expose them to AoE 2 and to expose them to my content and the game in general, but, like, another reason why I enjoy it is because I have a hard time following the Twitch chat when both playing and casting this game. This game is not the best game to stream, I guess, because it requires so much of your attention. There's so much going on, and I'm going to inevitably miss a ton of things by multitasking. So, and the thing I really like about streaming is the actual interaction, the live side of it. So I will scroll through it and I will grab some of your comments in just a moment, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I definitely, it's also like super exhausting to do this one. Ooh, well, here comes the clutch pull. And I feel like there are only so many different unique ideas I could do at this point. I feel like I've done them all. But I'm always interested in people's suggestions. Always interested. But since I've been around the longest, I do really feel like I've done it all. The resin spot's always a consistent motivator for me, for sure. Love me some of that res bot, so thanks for the support, everybody. Ah, that noise was so loud. Skybox never fixed that bug. So, I feel like Motham wants Imperial Skirms. I feel like he wants a lot of things. I feel like he's researching Onager and not... Oh, did he just not have a university to get chem? That's a legit possibility. And I think the Onagers are fine, too. I think he wanted to also have a good answer to clean out the Camel Archers. It's not fantastic, but it's something. Are we gonna see any regen on these bad boys, by the way? No. That tech is a little expensive and does almost nothing. But it's kind of cute. It's no Berserker Gang. Although Berserker Gang isn't that amazing, but it's alright. It's alright. Yo, Robsy's pushing it back. The Tarkans plus elite skirms. I like this, I like this. The Huns tend to fold against strong anti-cavalry civs like the Indians, and the Saracens, if the game goes on, or the Goths even, because they just can't really deal with the Huskarls plus Halbs, but yeah, wow. Rovsy actually pushes it back versus Teal, or Revenge, and I feel like the smaller economies on the green and teal team are going to bite them a little bit. This king is exposed! Is Motham's king gonna get sniped by a Treb or something like that, or are they just calling GG? I think they're calling GG. I think it's very fair to call GG at this point, and I hope you all enjoyed this match. Man, I had no time to take any questions for the Twitch chat then. Holy crap. Alright, what did I miss? What did I miss? Alright, see you, Corbic. Thank you. Don't worry about it, guys. Yeah, the garrison builds and houses is also... Yeah, it is awesome. It can be a little annoying, but it is awesome. Ramos says, Forgotten Empires better not touch my Frank cavalry archers. Preach it. See, it's all about those Vietnamese cavalry archers, though. They're okay. Jay Savage says, after having a 25-hour power outage, it's very pleasant. Surprised to see you streaming. Well, the Jay Savage, I stream at the same time every Saturday with only very few exceptions. So, you can always come by, and if you come by earlier, then you won't miss out on anything. And I also do extra streams, you know, splashed throughout the week as well. So, follow me on Twitch, you never miss a stream. I'm sorry about the 25-hour power outage, though. That sucks, man. And welcome to the stream. Good to have you. Good to have you. Yeah, there's just great teamwork there. Guy says, I'm generally careful where I place my houses for that reason. Yeah, if you are going to house wall, you have to be kind of careful that you have backup houses in the back, or you could be punished later. It's something I like to exploit, definitely. Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad that you're okay, Jay Savage. Youch. She says, no, that's a lot of damage, yeah. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Alright, yeah, well, GG, well played. Celts heavy cavalry archers, oof. Yeah, we're talking Conqueror's level strategies now. Now, for those of you who are looking to get into the game, there's my Aoe2 tutorials playlist. If you're watching live, you can type !Aoe2 tutorial to get the playlist, or you can just go to my YouTube channel. Leaving a like and a comment, like I said, always helps out a lot. And I also recommend that you check out my custom AI, which you can type !Custom AI to get that one. Yeah, it'll be in the video description on YouTube as well. Resident Spot, great practice and also a great way to play with your friends in Aoe2 HD, and once you get comfortable enough with the game, you maybe transition over to Woobly. But HD very accessible, great way to get in the game. Hope you all enjoyed that one, as well as my commentary. Pretty happy with this. It's a great game. I mean, Telemacho just didn't have to do anything besides make camel archers. Even though, like, Motham had the counter units, it was really difficult for him to beat both Camel Archers and Tarkans, and that's a pretty strong combo, it is. Huh, yeah, and I'd really like to see that Petard bust at the start of the game. It didn't work. I feel like Aoe2 responded to that immaculately well, like flawlessly well, as though he had experienced it before. Even though I feel like, I think he mentioned in the lobby that he doesn't play much Regicide Fortress, so... Yeah, so definitely surprised though. That's just good instincts from years of experience playing Aoe2. These players are indeed veterans. That he sensed that and repelled that pretty darn nicely. And I love that strategy by Rovsi. That was an absolutely fantastic one. And yeah, the superior economies do indeed win the game. Always have to get a minimum of 100 villagers. Motham was so close, man, but that one villager, that was the difference. Oh, man. Yeah, if he got to imp a little early. I mean, Motham was just in a really tough spot, because he's a civ with no eco bonus that needs to get to imp, and he needs to get chem and bombard cannons, which will take forever. And it's really expensive to counter those trebs from Telemacho. So Telemacho got to imp, like, really early, and that ended up being super duper decisive. I like Motham's onager choice. I think that was definitely an option. It's a little bit worse versus the... Trebs, but it still can work, just because you don't have as much range, but it's much better versus the Camel Archers, which he's having difficulty dealing with them being massed. Just goes to show that the Vietnamese, even though the bonus isn't staggered anymore, they still need to get to the Imperial Age to get Imperial Skirmishers, Elite Rattan Archers, and all their associated bonuses. Thank you, by the way, Waldinho for following the stream. Jay Savage says, Resonance the Goat, 1 like equals 1 prayer. Preach it, though, real talk. I mean, I don't like asking for likes and comments, and for people not to use adblock, but I have to, because YouTube has changed their search algorithm. The bots are watching. They don't show my videos to people even if you're subscribed, if they don't get enough comments and they don't get enough likes. So even if your comment's nonsense, it helps out a lot. Yeah, it does. So just leaving blanket likes and comments is just, it's just super nice of you. And I also do read them all, and I try to respond to as many questions as I can. It's a lot to manage, but I try to do it because we have really just one of the best communities on YouTube and Twitch, period. So I love you guys. Thank you all so much for the support, for watching this game. Stay tuned. The live stream's not over yet. I'll be continuing the stream after this. Stay tuned, and GG well played to Telemacho's Motham, Rovsi, and Revenge, aka Aoe2. Great game. Stay tuned. On the stream, Mauricio Pataka. Thank you for the follow as well, Dayman509. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'll bet you Intensive. I'll bet. This is a struggle. Yeah, the problem was mobility there. Thanks, Pearl. Hey, Nateware28. Alright. We'll be right back. Stay tuned, everybody. And thanks for watching.